Join me today for the BattleTech mid-March product line update. This is the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bobbie, and today we're going to be talking about the product line as far as BattleTech. This would be the middle of March. Recording this, well past it's the 20th as I'm recording this. And this is going to be the update. Now, some of this is going to be from the email that I keep mentioning. You guys should sign up for the newsletter. But there's more than that in this update. So I'm going to go through that stuff first, but there is more stuff in general. Okay, so the first thing of note is that was to remind everyone that Catalyst Games will be at Adepticon, which is March 26th through the 30th, and that is in Milwaukee this year. And if there's a link for any of this stuff, I'll put it down in the description. It looks like there is here in the email, so and it's it talks about some of the events and stuff they're going to be doing. Then today, I believe it was today, they started their Kickstarter for the Frostpunk RPG, I believe. Yeah, it's a role-playing game. That's based on the computer game, which if you don't know about it, essentially the Earth is frozen over, and it's up to you to try to save civilization. You've got to make some hard choices, and it's not easy to win. So that's a thing. Then we have the reminder of the February releases that we already talked about back in the February update. All of those show that the links will take you somewhere in the store, so they should all be listed in the store, assuming they're all still in stock. And you can also find a lot of this stuff elsewhere, like Ares and Fortress Miniatures, and some things on like Miniature Market, Amazon. But I would, if you're looking for a deal, I would start with Fortress Miniatures and Ares. If you just want to get it, and if they're out of stock potentially, check the Catalyst website, which I should note they have a new store. The storefront's been redone. I think the new look is good. It looks a little bit more easy to navigate. It's got sections that it should have had in the first place, like new products, sale products, things like that. So here is the new stuff that should be out this month. However, at least in the email, only a couple of these things have viable links, so I'll check here in a moment, but I don't know how much of this is actually on the Catalyst website at the moment, and some of this has been kind of floating around for a while elsewhere. Some of it's starting to show up in stock. So, the March releases. We have the book Legends 2. This is like, I haven't done a review of the first book, and I have them both now. I'll have to do a review at some point of them. But essentially, they show like legendary pilots and the mechs that they piloted, and it's divided up by eras. So, if you want to see what some of these people actually look like and what their mechs look like, then this is the book for you. Well, books, because now there's two of them. The map pack for the city map pack. So that's all the maps for the city maps. I don't know. I have them. I haven't done a review for them yet. Then the Battle Mat City HPG Engineering. So the battle mats are like the neoprene mats, like the gigantic mat that I have shown a video of in the past. The box set for the first Somerset Strikers. I did an unboxing of those a couple months ago, but the first Somerset Strikers are the characters from the cartoon. So this is the box set that has the Hatamoto Chi, the Mauler, a Wolfhound, I think, an Axeman, and I can never remember the name of the other one. I should be able to remember it. I have it in metal, and I've had it since like the late 80s, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. So there's 5 in there, and like I said, there's the 2 House Kirita mechs, the Mauler and the Hatamoto Chi. Then the Battlefield Support Assault and Cavalry Lances. That is a vehicle box set. Now that one does actually have a link that works, so hopefully my laptop isn't going to take forever to get to it, because it was freezing up a minute ago. And I'll let you know what's in it here real quick. Okay. Yeah, this one has 2 Demolisher tanks, 2 Shrek PPC carriers, 2 Condor heavy hover tanks, and 2 Pegasus Scout hover tanks. And then it has Alpha Strike cards and Battlefield Support cards for them. So it's a vehicle set, so it's 2 of each vehicle that's in it. Let me get that going. Then we also have the Inner Sphere Battle Armor Platoon. It's battle armor, so it's kind of like the elementals that the clans have, just not quite as advanced. Then we also have the House Davion Cavalry Lance. This is the second House Davion Lance. Last month, the other one, I think the Assault Lance, came out. And then the Salvage Box for the Visigoth Aerospace Fighter, which I believe I've done an unboxing for that. So, if you want to check back through the other videos. Let me double check here on the new arrivals real quick. Yeah, so far it's just the ones that that I mentioned. So the other stuff doesn't have links to it just yet. Let's see if this mentions anything else. Okay, so there is also the free short story Way of the Ghost Dog, which I did a review of, and the link to that story is in the review. I'll try to put the link here as well. If you want the Shadow, there's also a Shadowrun story. Well, I get those, and it looks like, from what the email is saying, they rotate these out at the end of the month. So there will be monthly fiction, I guess, from here on out. So keep an eye out for the short stories, and I'll try to get reviews up as I read them. And they're usually like 10, 12 pages, they're not very long. So then we're going to have the BattleTech Shrapnel issue number 20. Those are collections of short stories. I have the first 2, haven't read through them, so I haven't done reviews for them yet, but they're up to issue 20. Those are coming out almost monthly or monthly at this point, and a couple of them are like double-sized issues. So then also the audiobook for Fall from Glory, which is one of the Founding of the Clans books. I don't remember if it's the first or second one off the top of my head. So then it also has a section about recent releases, where we have the book Fortunes of War. Volume 1 is in print now. Volume 1 and 2 are both available as PDFs on their website. It looks like they're $4.99 each. These are short. These are, I don't know if they're short stories or what they are, but there's more than one story in the book. These, I think, were made for the Mercenaries Kickstarter, so if you back that, you probably already have the PDFs of some of these, depending on how high level you went. But the Volume 1 is now also in print. Now, if you want that in print, you got to buy it someplace else, because they only sell the PDFs as far as the novels on their website. Source books, they sell physical copies, and other books like The Art of War, annotated by Jamie Wolfe, like from last month. The physical version of that is for sale on the website. Then I believe you'll get the PDF also, like you do with the source books. So for Volume 2, so far it's only on PDF, but I'd say it's only a matter of time before it has a print version as well. So then we come to another book that was released last month. Now, BattleTech has a long history of, well, I don't know if it's a long history, but it has a history of joke products that are like, you know, like Halloween and things like that. Like there's Castle Wolfensteiner, that's an adventure that you can run through. There's Empires of Flame, which is a whole alternate universe where the Star League Defense Force never left and basically became like the new, like, central power and so things didn't quite go as bad as they did in the first two succession wars. So everyone still has industrial capacity. It's a rather interesting thing, and a lot of these are free. And I'm going to be doing a video in the near future about all just the various free BattleTech stuff that's out there. I doubt it'll be comprehensive. I'll try to make it as comprehensive as possible. So, in that vein, there was a non-canon novel released last month that I'm probably not going to read. It's a BattleTech romance book. Hungry Like the Wolf. Centers around Ulrich and a forbidden love with, I think, a scientist or something. Yeah, and like the cover is literally him shirtless and like a buff model kind of pose. So yeah, I'm not overly likely to ever buy that, but it is in paperback if you are so inclined and you want to read it in Dead Tree format, and of course it's in PDF on the website. Now this is one you had to pay for; it's not free like some of the others have been. And apparently this started as a joke like a year ago, and then someone actually wrote the book. So yeah, so it's out there if you want it. I have seen some people who have like really spazzed out over the existence of this product and act like this is the end of BattleTech and Catalyst has gone super woke and blah 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 blah. And no, it's a joke product, people. Like, that's all it is. It has no bearing on canon, and I'm going to be honest, I don't care if it does. If Ulrich wants to sleep with some scientist, like, who am I to judge? Still won't be reading the book, probably, but I've heard it's mildly entertaining, though. So, yeah. So that's all of the, the stuff from the email, plus that bit about the novel there. Now, as I mentioned, they do have a new storefront, so you should check that out. It's a little more easy to navigate, in my opinion. Some updates that were long overdue. Now, hopefully they can do something about the, what I understand are pretty ridiculous shipping rates if you try to order anything overseas. So, there is one other major matter to discuss. And I believe there's a link here in the email. Yeah. Oh, before I get to that, there is also presently a sale. I don't remember how long the sale lasts, but a lot of the 40th anniversary stuff is on sale. So, like the 40th anniversary t-shirt, hoodie, mug, as well as the 40th anniversary artwork versions of both the beginner box and the Game of Armored Combat box. They're all 25% off, I believe. Yeah, 25% off. So the beginner box would be, well, let's double check here. I don't know if it's still 20 or if it was 25. But yeah, bumped up to 25, so it's $18.75 plus shipping. And then the Game of Armored Combat box is $45 plus shipping. Now, given that it's normally $60, now you can find it on sale a lot, but $45 is a pretty good price for it. I mean, you get the 8 battle. Well, I've done an unboxing, so check that out. I'll probably try to put a link up here. But you get the 8 battle mechs. You get standees to double that number or triple. I honestly don't remember, but even if it's just double, that's 16. That's enough for both teams to have 2 lances of mechs. Comes with 2 maps. Dice, you might want some more dice. And then record sheets, alpha strike cards, beginner rules, cursory, hey, here's what the inner sphere is, and some back history, a very short story that, if I remember right, was decent. Although it is part 2 of the story from the beginner box. So, but yeah, 45 is a pretty good deal for it, in my opinion. If I didn't already have 5 copies of the box set, I'd consider it. Plus, I won't swear to it, but I think this one has a coupon in it, or at least my version did. I don't know if it's because I bought it at Gen Con, or if that's the production copy, so I can't swear to that, but that is a thing, potentially. Yeah, so that is it from the main, the main newsletter stuff. So, on to the potentially sensitive topic, and that is the dreaded T word, tariffs. Catalyst has issued a statement about them. I'm going to link to the statement, but the gist of it is they produce things in China. So, and I'm not going to crap on them for doing that. Like, that's unfortunately just the way business works at the moment. If you want certain things produced and don't want to pay a fortune for them, that's where you're going to make them. And even if you move out of China, you're still moving to someplace else that's probably still going to be hit by tariffs. Maybe. Who knows? Like, I wake up every morning not knowing what's going to happen on that front. And I'm not going to go into that, but, like, it does seem to be a mystery. So, because of that, they are going to have to raise prices at some point. They do say in the next 60 days we'll be releasing a comprehensive update for this process as far as what they're going to do. Now, what they're saying is, okay, the price adjustments will be applied to new products and product reprints that are directly affected by tariffs. And they're saying that as we adjust to this new situation, we will likely expand this policy across our entire production line in order to average out increases. So, like, their books might also be printed in China, but they could be printed in Canada, because Canada's where a lot of books are also printed, which is also in a tariff situation. So the point is, like, instead of just increasing the price to scale of the things directly hit, they'll spread it out so that no, like, one or two products is just ramped up dramatically, just that everything will ramp up a little bit, which I can see the upside to that, because it prevents one or more of your products from just being absolutely hammered, and instead kind of spreads the pain around. And hopefully at some point it'll go back down, but these things have a tendency to not do that. Now, in my opinion, even a mild increase, I don't think is going to seriously affect them, because this game is already pretty cheap to get into. I mean, realistically, you don't need the miniatures. Now, I mean, we'll want to use them because they look cool, but realistically, you don't have to have them. The rules are very clear that you can use proxies of any kind. And as long as it's from, like, the Clan Invasion set, there's standees for days out there if you'd rather buy those. In fact, I could see those seeing a surge in popularity. So Catalyst, assuming cardboard isn't dramatically hit, which I think it will be, unfortunately, because if I remember right, those probably also have to be made overseas. But they're one of the few products that you might be able to make here in the U.S. Maybe. I could see the standees maybe gaining a little more traction because of the price difference. Now, then you got to convince people to use them, because unfortunately, well, I don't want to use a standee that looks dorky compared to this cool plastic mech over here. And then, of course, 3D printing. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation. I think they'll be fine ultimately, because again, other than silly people like me that are like, oh, I've got to have all the mechs, which even I don't have all of them. There's someone like, I'm good on that one. Like, I do have my focuses, like, House Lao back here. Fortunately, they haven't made very many Lao-specific mechs, so I haven't had to chase very many down. It's mainly just the Tian Zong, I think. But, yeah, so I think it's probably the better strategy to spread the cost around, because, again, like right now, a Lance pack I think is $30, so that's $7.50 a mech. Okay, I mean, even if they get up to $10 a mech, now that does start to get expensive. I'm not trying to say that $40 for 4 little plastic figures isn't expensive. It is, especially since they're unpainted. But if you're going to use like legit miniatures, the alternative is metal, and metal miniatures cost almost twice that. So plastic is still significantly cheaper than the metal. You don't have to assemble it. So I think they've got a ways to go yet before they're like, well, we're going to lose to the metal. Now, I think Ironwind metal sales will increase a little bit because there will be people that are like, well, you know, it's only a little bit more in the metal. And the metal mechs can be more detailed. Plus, they have other variants. So I think there's definitely room for both to still coexist. I think Ironwind's going to be in business for a long time. Plus, BattleTech's not where they make all their money. It's something else. I'll talk about it in another video sometime. But yeah, so they are going to, assuming something doesn't change, tariffs are going to have an impact. So I don't ever give financial advice, and this is not financial advice or investment advice. I am not a financial advisor, an economic advisor, investment advisor, any of those things. Do not take anything I'm about to say as anything resembling that. I'm just going to tell you what I plan on doing. And what I plan on doing is stocking up on them now before the price goes up. Not just the box sets, but also miniatures. Any place I can find them for sale, I will be grabbing them. And for those of you who haven't seen this, because I didn't do a video about it, there's a number of Barnes & Nobles that have clearanced some things. It's very hit and miss. I've seen some people getting Clan Invasion box sets for $5. I got one for $25 because Chris was able to snag me one. And I consider that a pretty good deal. Plus, both of them, plus all the ones I had were the Kickstarter exclusive boxes. I didn't actually have a regular box. Now I do. So, different artwork. But, you know, more copies of the mechs inside, more elementals, more standees. Like, yeah, I mean, $25. It's a good deal. It's the 5 mechs, 2 elemental stars, and like I said, the standees and the maps and everything. So, yeah, I consider it a pretty good deal. Now, if you can find, some of them are selling some of the Lance packs. It won't be the brand new ones. So don't think this is Barnes & Noble like, oh, we're not going to carry BattleTech anymore. It's just some of the stuff's been around for a little while, and it's time to move it on out, because they're still getting exclusives, like the McCarran's Armored Cavalry box set that I opened up. That's their latest exclusive. Those are mechs that would all align with Lao, because like I said, the Tianzong is in there. And the other 3 would be ones that the Lao use, because McCarran's is kind of attached to the Hip House Lao. You would also probably find them among the armies of the Magistracy of Canopus and possibly the Taurian Concordant, because they had like a Trinity alliance for a while, and Lao was supplying mechs to both of them. So you can see the Tianzong in their armies as well. And Davion might have some from Battlefield Salvage as well. I would say Merrick, but Lao doesn't seem to be in like direct open conflict with House Merrick at the moment, so it's less likely. Not impossible, but less likely. So, yeah. But anyway, so we have this deal here with the tariffs. It comes at a really bad time because at the Gamma trade show, maybe a month ago at this point, it was revealed that BattleTech is the second highest selling like wargame miniatures line. Warhammer 40k is number 1, and it's number 1 by a country mile. I'm sure. That's a long distance for those of you who've never heard that expression. It's number 1 by leaps and bounds. But the fact that BattleTech is number 2, and you don't even need the miniatures to play the game, I mean, that says a lot. I think it says that a lot of Warhammer people have definitely defected, and that BattleTech's popularity has exploded. And again, some people who've like kind of crapped on Catalyst, I understand a handful of their complaints, but for the most part, I think they're just bitter people who just sell divisiveness. And I mean, I know I shit on Star Wars a lot in my other videos, so I'm kind of guilty of this too. I know I am. But like this statement here about the tariffs, I've seen some people like, oh, Catalyst is clearly failing, and they're passing their failures on to you, and they're blaming it all on Trump and the tariffs. It's like, well, no, like their costs are legitimately going to go up because of the tariffs. Like, that's what's going to happen. This isn't a blame the current president. They don't attempt to. Now, the current president is responsible for the tariffs. Like, so if you were going to blame him, like, seems like fair game to me. But I'm not going down that road. But like, they're not. You know, this isn't some sign that their business is failing when they're the number 2 company, like, and like the other companies that sell their stuff have a hard time keeping it in stock. Like, no, they're from all outward appearances, they're doing just fine. And I wish them success. Like I've said before, there's only a handful of companies that I consider to be, you know, quote unquote good. It's mainly Dwarven Forge. That's because I've met the people repeatedly. I've seen them in action. And, like, I'm sure that if they could produce that stuff any place other than China, that they would probably do it. And I know that they attempt to keep costs down when they can. They have excellent customer service. I know it's only a handful of people, similar to Catalyst. And, yeah, and they don't, like, engage in, like, random political baloney. So, Catalyst, very similar in all these respects. Now, I don't agree with everything either company does. Catalyst has made at least one, what I consider, major mistake. But, you know, it is what it is. It hasn't seemed to stop the company at all. And hasn't seemed to stop the person involved. So, you know. But I also understand if for others that is an unforgivable sin, you know. I completely understand that stance. I understand that as one of the current authors, some people don't like for some of his private stuff. I don't care, you know. Like, the guy writes good books. And, yeah, some of the stuff he fights for socially end up in the books. But it's, you know, consenting adults. I don't care. Like, you know, non-straight people do exist. Probably I have no reason to suspect that they won't exist 1,000 years from now, piloting battle mechs, blowing each other up. Like, okay, as long as it's not a graphic sex scene, I don't care. You know? So, yeah, and by the way, that goes both ways. I don't want that with a straight couple either in BattleTech. Because I can think of at least one, and yeah, it served a purpose and, like, talked about something like, you know, one of those, like, moments where you're like, huh, I wonder, has this ever happened? You know, let's just say it involved, like, the timing of the jump of a jump ship and, you know, it answers some questions. Those kind of deep, dark questions that you don't give voice to. Like, if any of you ever seen the movie Mallrats, Brody had a massive predilection towards wondering about the dynamics of sexual encounters between superheroes given their powers. And yeah, like, on the one hand, like, I think we've all contemplated some of those questions before, but none of us are really like, oh, I actually have to know that. It's like, no, like, if we could answer that question somehow that's not just ridiculous and or really slimy, like, okay, that's great, but I could live the rest of my life not knowing that and live a fulfilled, satisfied life. That's why I have no interest in reading Hungry Like the Wolf. So anyway, wildly off topic. So yeah, this is not some sign that the company's failing. This is an acknowledgement, and I appreciate that they're being proactive in telling us, hey look, just in case you're living under a rock and don't follow the news, like, things are happening, they're going to affect the company, they're coming, we're going to try to be as straight with you as possible about it. I very much appreciate that kind of statement. Because communication is one of the only criticisms I have of Catalyst, and this shows being very proactive on that front. So, very much appreciate it. And, yeah, so I think that's about it. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I know I'm still in the middle of reading one of the books, Trial of something. It has to do with Ulrich Wolf trying to establish the Star League on Earth and, you know, expand from there and answer the questions actually posed in the book. What if you built a new Star League and no one came? So, yeah. It's interesting so far, but I have also ordered Brian Young's book, Peter, right in front of me. Why am I bothering to try to think about it when I can just look it up? Hang on. Trial of Birthright is the book I'm reading, by the way. No, okay. Let's try a different approach. I just got done telling you guys this site really works, so yeah, unfortunately, like the fiction, okay, Voidbreaker, like the Shadowrun stuff, same with the BattleTech stuff. There was probably a thing I could have checked to deal with that, but I was trying to get an actual answer real quick. Voidbreaker, Brian Young, it has to do with Clan Seafox trying to rebuild the HPG grid, essentially. So I hear. And I hear it's a good book, so once I get done with Trial of Birthright, I'll be going to Voidbreaker, or I might jump into Voidbreaker in the middle of Trial of Birthright. Nothing to do with Trial of Birthright being bad or anything. Like, it's Michael J. Sierravella, and I liked his other stuff. It's taken, like, I'm just having trouble getting into it. I know it's not to do with the book, it's to do with everything else. So, anyway, that's about all I've got to say for this. So let me know down in the comments if any of this stuff sounded interesting to you. I will try to link to everything that has a link presently. And if I have done an unboxing for anything that I discussed, or a book review or anything, I'll put the description up there or down in the description. And I think if I put it up there, it goes in the description automatically. But anyway, that's all I've got. So let me know down in the comments if any of this fascinates you. You want to know more? Are you going to be buying any of this stuff, etc., etc.? Yeah, any of that kind of stuff. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing and commenting are what helps grow the channel, and I always appreciate it. Obviously appreciate subscriptions too. That's what drives everything. But yeah, and if you like what you've heard here and you aren't subscribed, we very much appreciate it. But yeah, that's all I've got. So just remember, folks, no guts, no galaxy.